Hi everyone, welcome back. We'll continue our search for truth Bible studies with lesson 2 chart 5. Right. So lesson 2 chart 5 speaks or rather is really about a lesson on how the innocence that mankind had began their life in ends in judgment. Right. So in the previous chart we talked about how Adam and Eve disobeyed God and brought judgment upon themselves. So in this particular chart, we'll speak more specifically, elaborate a bit more specifically about the kind of judgment that mankind has brought upon themselves and upon actually the rest of creation, right? And then let's see what we can learn from this. Right, so the curse of sin, right? The consequences of sin, right? So it affected even the serpent, right? Let's read the verse here. Genesis chapter 3 verse 14, the Lord said to the serpent, because you had done this, cursed are you more than all cattle and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you will go, and dust you will eat all the days of your life. So it seems to suggest that the serpent, the snake, has been used as an instrument by Satan, right, to tempt mankind, right, and the serpent has faced judgment, right? So he also has this very interesting suggestion and fact here that the serpent didn't always have, wasn't always moving around on its belly. Now, at the same time, not just the serpent was cursed, the Bible says that the earth is cursed. So this is what God said to the man, the ground is cursed because of you. All your life you'll struggle to scratch a living from it. It will grow thorns and thistles for you, though you will eat of its grains. By the sweat of your brow will you have food to eat until you return to the ground from which you were made. Right? So it talks about the earth being unfruitful. Right? Even when men work on the earth, right, men will have to work hard, and sometimes hard work doesn't always result in his rewards. So really the curse, right, the consequence of sin here is unfruitfulness in our work, right? Many people have assumed that work is a curse from God. If you read the Bible, work was something given to man as a destiny. God has meant for man to work. So the curse of sin is not work, but the curse of sin is really unfruitfulness in work, whereby work becomes such a chore or unfruitfulness in our work. Now, in the case of the woman, this is what he said. This is what God said. I will greatly multiply your pain in childbirth. In pain you will bring forth children, yet your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. So the consequences of sin affecting women were this, right? Pain in childbirth, right? And when you think about it, in that sense, many people will consider the birth of a child something to be celebrated, celebration of life. Yet childbirth has usually is full of complications, full of pain and suffering, right? So you could see that God's original intention was not to have pain in childbirth, but this had come as a result of sin, right? And in the second part of verse, it suggests that there will be some strained relationships between man and woman, right? So again, another consequence of sin, which probably explains why human relationships today, especially intimate relationships, can, on the one hand, be such a great joy and blessing, but oftentimes can also be a great source of frustration and pain and tragedy. Right. So as we see, the innocence that God has created mankind in has really ended in judgment. Right. Judgment because of the consequences of sin. Not only was the ground cursed, not only were men and women experiencing the consequences of sin, the Bible says that this is the first time you read of animals being killed, right? So in this case, animals were killed so that men can get appropriate covering. The Bible says that God made clothing from animal skins for Adam and Eve, right, to replace the fig leaves that they have sewn for themselves. Another consequence was this: Adam and Eve had to leave the Garden of Eden, the place, the paradise that which they were placed within. And mankind's relationship since then has been damaged. Right? Mankind no longer has access to God the way Adam and Eve originally had. Right. So what are some key learning points here? Right, as we close up this session, right? One very clear thing is there are consequences to sin. There are consequences when we sin against God. Right. And these consequences often distort the good things that God had originally intended for us. God's originally intended that work is meant to be fruitful. Work is something that blesses people, blesses things around us. But because of our sin, work has become unfruitful. Right? When you look at the pain in childbirth, when you look at the strained relationships, right? These are distorted. These are things not meant to be bad, but they have been distorted because of the consequences of sin. Right? So that's all we have for us in this session. Thank you.